My name is Wade Morris. I'm a digital journalism student, and this is my second autoethnography video for Dr. Strangelove. The first was from last year. Last time, I learned about my own habits and motivations for using technology, and for this project, I'm interested in the ethical implications of information technology. This time, I recorded 3 separate, unique, significant uses of technology. In all 3 of these cases, I used multiple technologies at once. For my final project, I will look into the idea of multitasking and write about how these technologies are used in conjunction, but for this video, I'm going to focus on the ethical implications. Now let's look at the technologies I used for this project. I used quite a few information technologies for this project. I used an iPhone 5C, I used a pair of headphones, a MacBook Pro, a handheld sound recorder called the Tascam DR05, a PlayStation 4, and its accompanying controller, and a television. The first scenario, I write for a magazine, and I had to conduct an interview over the phone. This was when I was able to speak properly, by the way. I used an iPhone 5C to conduct the interview. I used the Tascam recorder to record it, and I also used a MacBook Pro to create a backup recording of the interview just in case my handheld recorder did not work. Overall, this stage took 30 minutes. For my second scenario, I was getting some schoolwork done at Starbucks. Specifically, I was creating a PowerPoint presentation. I used my MacBook Pro to work on the presentation, and I used my phone to listen to some background music, which I could barely hear because there was a loud crying baby in the Starbucks. Overall, this scenario took 75 minutes. For my third and final stage, I was playing video games. Specifically, I was using the PlayStation 4, which was connected to the TV. I used the PlayStation 4 controller to control the game, and I was also using my phone to listen to a podcast for added entertainment. This scenario took 2 hours. I also made a graph that'll show the amount of time I spent with each technology. So the iPhone is the one I spent the most amount of time with. That's 225 minutes. That's nearly 4 hours. The headphones are in second place. That's 195 minutes. That's just over 3 hours. Then it's the PS4 and the controller and the TV. Those are tied at 2 hours each, 120 minutes. Then the MacBook Pro, that's 105 minutes. And then the last one is the Tascam recorder. I only spent 30 minutes with that one. Now let's look at the ethical implications. After analyzing the field notes that I created, I considered the ethical implications of each technology. Let's start with the positives. Many of these technologies were portable, allowing me to use electricity on Starbucks dime rather than my own. I'm also able to manipulate my own use of technology to increase my own productivity. For example, playing music to focus while building my PowerPoint presentation. But with so many technologies being used at once, am I relying on technology? Very few of my tasks actually require a device. For example, I could have created handwritten notes during my phone interview, rather than making 2 audio recordings. The obvious defense of technology would be to say that I saved paper by using technology. But consider what happens to our devices when we throw them out. This is called e-waste, and it's a significant problem for the environment. A United Nations report said that 41.8 million tons of e-waste were generated in 2014. That number grew to 44.7 million in 2016. I will throw out my iPhone eventually. It's an iPhone 5, it barely works anymore, it's older than time itself. In fact, every technology I use for this project will become trash at some point. In my opinion, the most severe ethical implication of information technology is its long-term impact on the environment. So if that baby in Starbucks wants a real reason to cry, there you go. For this project, I recorded 3 stages of technology use and considered the ethical implications. I found that the technologies made my task easier to complete, but I found myself relying on the technology, and I considered the environmental consequences of e-waste. Look forward to my final written report, where I will further examine how the technologies were used in conjunction.